is a microscopic bilaterally symmetric plateau. Besides having a name that is incredibly awkward to say out loud, the gastritrick is notable in that it lives on average only 3 days. Something like 1,583 gastritricks could have been born and then died, one after the other, in the amount of time that we've been in school. That's a lot of gastritricks. Today isn't the end of our lives so far, and it isn't the beginning of our futures. I'm not going to say either of those things to you, because today is just a day. Nothing magical is going to happen when we switch our tassels to the other side of our caps. Today doesn't turn us into different people or erase our pasts. But today marks something. We've spent over 1,000 tiny little lives learning how to think. And after today, I guess we're ready to think on our own. If we want to completely change our lives after today, we can. And yesterday, that just wasn't true. I do believe that in a way, the last 13 years of our lives have been more or less leading up to the point at which we can choose to live our lives however we want. And it's because of the things that happened to us those 13 years that we're about to be there. And so instead of telling you that your past ends today, I want to ask you something. Of that past, all those years, what do you remember? I remember crying in kindergarten because my assigned lunch table was different from my best friend's. And I remember the day in middle school when I realized that friend and I didn't know anything about each other anymore. I remember working furtively to figure out my second grade teacher's political party and celebrating when she wore black the day after George W. Bush's election because I finally knew. I remember becoming furious with my parents and walking farther away than I was allowed to in the 4th grade. But I don't remember why I was mad or where I walked. I remember my 6th grade teacher asking me if I had anything going on in my life when she gave me detention for forgetting to turn in homework. And I remember telling her that there sort of was, even though there really wasn't. I remember singing spirituals in the entranceway to Frisch's Big Boy with Ms. Elder's chorale freshman year, and feeling like I'd found the people I wanted to be with always. I remember cause more than anything. I remember friendships that began and some that ended. I remember falling in like countless times and in love once. I remember how to write a 3-pronged parallel thesis statement, and I remember that Scout really can be the mockingbird as long as you prove it with at least 1 quote per paragraph. Our past selves aren't going to die today. I am still the girl who cried because she couldn't sit with her best friend, who overreacted when she got angry, who looked down on her 6th grade English teacher's assignments. And tomorrow, none of those memories are going to go away. 10, 20, or even 50 years in the future, I can guarantee that I'll still cry easily, that I'll still be unreasonably attached to my friends, that I'll still be unbearably obnoxious sometimes. But there are things that will be different too. There always are. When you remember, you see and think and feel and do, but it's all in your head and nowhere else. So it's the same as picturing the future, really. But I'm not sure how to picture the future. I don't know what I want myself to be seeing and thinking and feeling and doing, and I don't think I have to. Maybe right now, you are absolutely sure what you want. And maybe, like me, you have no idea. In 10 years, maybe you'll think and look and remember wondering. And maybe you won't remember at all. I'd like to remember today if I can. All of us here spent some of our first winter break of high school, even if it was only the last night, pretending to be ancient Egyptians. We all spent time in empty classrooms or cramped bedrooms trying to choreograph an African dance. We all know a little bit about Carl Jung and the sirens and why utopias don't work. We can probably all quote at least a few lines of Shakespeare. We all had to endure 3 different schedules, 3 different principals, huge classes of freshmen, moldy ceilings, and dying cockroaches. And we're never going to do any of those things together in that same place ever again. Wherever we're going, college, work, the military, traveling, today is the last day that we're all together as cause students, and I hope I remember it. 10 or 20 or 50 years in the future, on another day that's just a day, I want to make a list of memories, and I want to think of today as my last day as a cause student with all my fellow cause students. And maybe I'll turn to some of you and ask if you remember it too. You know, a lot of gas subjects are going to die before that happens. So let's wait. Tomorrow, we can choose what we want to remember and start doing what we want to do. Today, let's honor this day, whatever it really means, and our teachers, and our beautifully decaying school, and ourselves, and all the gastrics that are going to die before we forget. Thank you.